Philip Simon.
And it is a pleasure to be back with you this Friday. Before we go any further, I want to congratulate all of those young women who took the road less traveled and became members of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority down there at the University of the Bahamas, the Town New chapter. Congratulations to all of those 18 phenomenal women, and of course my sorors from the Eta Psi Omega chapter who made that happen. Congratulations to all of you. Okay.
It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
Good morning, TGIF to you. I am Philip Simon.
And it is certainly a pleasure to be back with you on this fabulous Friday. Well, I want to send a very special congratulations to all of the young women at the University of the Bahamas that became members of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority over the past week. And of course, they exhibited their talents last night in their coming out ceremony. And so congratulations to those 18 young women that have chosen to take the road less traveled. And of course, the Eta Psi Omega chapter for making sure that happens so
Well,
smoothly.
listen, man, I know you're celebrating this morning. You're wearing your colors, looking lovely
Sort
as
of.
usual. So congratulations to them.
Yes, congratulations
to them.
indeed.
You know, it's been a long week. Yesterday morning, Wednesday evening, I was kind of really pissed. I mean, I woke up very angry, with the whole situation, with these murders, with the retaliation with our young men. We just can't seem to exercise any ability to resolve conflicts. But then, as the day progressed yesterday, and I kind of ended up last night at a school production, Windsor Prep, and just to watch those little kids on stage, having such a wonderful time, no care in the world, just the innocence. I felt better, I really did feel better. So congratulations to, Windsor and Lise McCartney, and of course my own children who participated in that. Good things are happening, and these are the things that we need to celebrate just a little bit more often. Also, too, I want to say congratulations to the Queens College Comets, of course, this volleyball team led by our own Muggs, coach. The senior boys were the winners for this year, and the senior girls were runner-up.
Okay,
Yeah.
Congratulations to QC, and I think they wanted you to say specifically that the boys defeated SAC. I'm from Freeport. Shout out to every Freeport High and BMAS warrior. Don't care about SAC and QC, but I think they wanted that to be known. However, let us shout out for our SAC people,
right here.
who in this instance the women, and that so it was a balance. I don't care, guys. I really don't. But congratulations to all of our young people who are doing well. I think that is the point.
Yeah.
We had another victory with Benjamin Davis, the 22-year-old that would have gotten the approvals for financing to extend
from the
his
Small Business
from the
Development
Small
Center.
Business
Yeah, he's
Development
doing
Center,
the
the green
clean
cards.
rental. Yeah, green card.
Yeah. So
I saw that. That's
really
pretty
good stuff
impressive.
happening.
Those are the headlines, guys. Those should be the headlines.
Well, we've got some great headlines for you that we're going to be creating today. Of course, we're celebrating Mother's Day this weekend. And we've got our look-alike contest in studio. And Phil, boy, I thought it was twins this morning when I walked in
I
there.
know who did the judging, but listen, that's rough. That's rough. Wait until you see them.
Indeed. But we've got a great show lined up for you.
Yes, we do. We certainly do. Today is the International Day of Families, and we're going to be talking about that in our Bridging the Gap segment. We'll also learn from the team from Oxford Economics, of course. That report came out this week, commissioned by the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce, and speaks a lot. We're talking about the WTO ascension there. And, of course, we'll find out about the International Scottish Masonic Conference being held in the Bahamas next week. We've got Joe Curry. I was going to list the title, but you'll hear more about that in a second. And of course, we've got the live weekend calendar. Last weekend, of course, was heavy and bright, but this, yeah.
Yeah,
And of
okay.
course, we got it.
Maritime Festival.
I got it. A
Maritime
lot is happening
Festival.
tomorrow, man. I'm just
Yeah.
looking at this thing. They've got a helicopter pit that NEMA will be exhibiting, just food and drinks. I mean, these large ships. And of course, one of them actually brought in those 7, I don't know if you saw it, you're looking from a distance on our right, but those 7 large generators
Okay.
that BPL is going to be using is just huge, amazing. But with the Iraq Port Development celebrating 10 years, and of course tomorrow is the inaugural, I'm going to put it on them and say the first, Maritime Festival.
Well, as you mentioned, Phil, those BPL generators did come in, so we're going to be having a conversation with BPL again this morning about that. Looking forward to that. And World Lupus Day is coming up. Several people impacted by lupus, so that's an important conversation you want to stay tuned for. Of course, we're excited about the weekend, but the weather has been off and on, so we're going to find out from Godfrey whether we need to make plans to stay inside for Mother's Day. Wink, wink, hint, hint. This is the last time I'm telling y'all. Mother's Day is Sunday. Make sure the gifts are ready, or if you can go and dine on outside. Here's Godfrey Burnside with our first look at weather.
Weather at sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Stern. Good morning, Bahamas. And your first look at weather at sunrise. We do have a mid-level trough across the northwest Bahamas, and that is triggering off some showers and thunderstorms, particularly the extreme northwest Bahamas, in the Grand Bahama, Bimini, the Berry Islands, Abaco this morning. We had some heavy downpours here in New Providence late overnight in the central areas of the islands. And so we expect a mix of showers and thunderstorms throughout the day, throughout the weekend from time to time. I don't think we'll have a washout during the weekend. Any other day, mix of sun and clouds, but hot and humid with a few showers and possible isolated thunderstorms. Your high temperature 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, we're looking at partly cloudy and muggy with a few showers or even a thunderstorm. Your low temperature going down to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. And some regional highs and lows across the Caribbean. Barbados 85 and 76. In Jamaica 82 and 71. In Trinidad 87 and 76. And the Turks and Caicos Islands 89 and 75. Across North America, Atlanta 80 and 66. In Raleigh 79 and 61. In Miami 87 and 75. Dallas, Texas 67 and 53. And Toronto, Canada 56 and 42. As we go into the weekend, mix of sun and clouds, hot and humid, and yes, there's chance of pockets of some showers, even the possible thunderstorms. It all depends on your location. Temperature daytime will be around the 90-degree mark, at nighttime in the mid to upper 70s. That puts you up in your first look at the weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Star.
Thank you so much, Godfrey. Well, a happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers celebrating in advance, and to all of you who have been mothers to someone in some capacity, whether your child or not, we celebrate and congratulate you as well. You know that we have our annual Mother's Day competition, and this year we decided we wanted to include sons in this. So it was mother and son or mother and daughter, but the mothers and daughters have won out. And when we turn these cameras on them, you are going to understand why. Our producer says this has been one of the toughest years yet in terms of competition, and that's because we've got two fabulous sets of moms and daughters with us. We've got Cyan and Renee Ramming here, along with Ashnique Edgecombe and Darrenique Knowles. Ladies, good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning.
It's like seeing double. I mean, even the mannerisms, right? Like, look at how they stand. When I walked in, and two of you looked up at the same time, I said, this is crazy. Y'all are more like twins than mother and daughter. I'm going to get started with you, Cyan and Renee. Do people tell you look like your mom all the time?
All the time.
All the time. Has she always looked like you?
For the most part.
For
yes.
the most part, yeah. Man, my baby don't look nothing like me. And I've been hoping that, like, you know, as she grow into it, she look like me. Nah, but it's not happening. But she's always looked like you. How does that feel as a mom to know that you've just created this beautiful little being that's a reflection of you, both physically and I'm sure in other ways?
It makes me feel really proud, and I just thank God for giving me this opportunity to raise her up.
Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 17.
17. Okay. What does it feel like to look like your mom at 17? Is that something that 17-year-olds about that life or not really?
Yes, sir. I'm about that life. I'm loving every minute of it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So 17, are you finished school? Are you graduating?
Graduating this year with
Okay.
honors.
With honors, congratulations. From
Thank
which school?
you. C.B. Bethel Senior High School.
CP Bethel Senior High School. Mom, what type of work does it take as a mom to make sure that someone like her stays focused and committed, even as she's going through this teenage period when some people lose focus?
Well, first of all, we have to put God first, definitely. And some type of commitment. You have to be there. Whatever they need, you must be there. And also, you have to have a good communication level.
Okay, I'm taking this all in, y'all. I'm taking this all in. This is great advice coming from Cyan and Janae. Thank you guys so much. And then, of course, I want to talk with Ashanique and Daranique. Talk to me about yourselves. Who submitted the photo saying that you guys should be here?
I did.
Okay. Do you watch Bahamas at sunrise?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Oh, look, I always get excited when people tell me they watch Bahamas at sunrise. People always said that she looks like you?
Yes, ma'am.
From day one?
No, not really from day
Okay,
one.
there's hope for me yet.
Yes. As she grew older, everybody said, "Oh, y'all two look alike. Y'all look like twins."
Are you guys? Your mannerisms are so similar. Like it's crazy how similar your mannerisms are. But are you also possessing certain characteristics and skills that are very similar? Our
Not really.
personalities are a bit different.
I would say personality.
Totally different.
Totally different.
Yes,
So looks
ma'am.
on the outside are one thing. Personalities are a bit different. But of course, you guys get along so well that you're dressed alike today.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So what are some of the things that you want to tell your mom for Mother's Day?
I just want to tell her that I appreciate her and I love her. I thank God for her, and I hope that in the future she'll always be there for me to support and encourage me along the way.
Excellent. And you, Mom, do you have any words for daughter?
I say thank you very much. I hope and pray God that I will continue to be here to protect you and to guide you through all ways.
Oh, so beautiful. Jude, any words for Mom that you want to give?
Yes. Oh, me, I love you so much. And thank you for always being there for me every step of the way.
It's such a beautiful thing. And Mom, for Janae?
Renee, I express to you God's choicest blessings, and I do hope that you grow up and to mature into a very young lady.
Oh, all the love this morning on Bahamas and Sunrise. Okay, I know that the anticipation is killing you. It's been killing me too. I'm looking down at my script now, almost like the big red carpet reveal to determine who is the winner. And I'm very excited because our runner-ups are going to receive a gift certificate to Fashion Hall, restaurant vouchers from Restaurants Bahamas, which includes Pizza Hut, KFC, and Burger King, and a case of Vitamalt courtesy of Commonwealth Brewery. Y'all please share Vitamalt with me. Y'all know that's stuff. That's my good stuff. But we're excited to announce it. And guys, I have to say it again. This has been one of the most challenging mother-daughter look-alike contests. But we will determine right now who gets what. And our runner-ups are Cyan and Janae! So Cyan and Janae are runner-ups. They get those prizes, a gift certificate to Fashion Hall, restaurant vouchers from Pizza Hut, KFC, and Burger King, and a case of Vitamalt. And a happy Mother's Day to Miss Muggs, and congratulations, of course, to her being a mommy to all those Queens College comments. She's on set now. And our winners, of course, are Ashtonique and Daranique, and they will receive dinner for two at Crusoe's Restaurants at Comfort Suites Paradise Island, restaurant vouchers from Pizza Hut, KFC, and Burger King, and a bottle of Bailey's Irish Cream. Y'all can feel free to shout out to ladies. But we do want to congratulate you, not just on looking alike, but obviously the parents have been raising beautiful daughters. Any words that you want to give to moms out there who are watching today about just how they could continue on this way? Because the road's not easy being a mom, and I think this is why we celebrate Mother's Day so much. There's so much that you sacrifice, so much that you give up, and so much that you just pour into these beings that come from you that you want for them. So any advice for them? I'll start with you, Saran.
The advice that I would give to parents would be, it's a three-way street.
Okay.
There's parents, teachers, and there are also the student. Everyone has to play their role in order for everything to be balanced. And so everyone have to play their role.
Okay, and for you?
Always put God first. Once you put God first, everything would flow afterwards.
Okay, I mean, I think that's perfect advice. You can look like your mother tell your dad. I may as well tell y'all, as Bahamians would say. But really, it's a joy to see different ages and this different reflection of continuing grace and elegance that you both possess coming forward in the second generation. And we thank you so much for watching Bahamas at Sunrise, for submitting the photos to us, and for joining us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
And happy Mother's Day to both of you.
Thank
you.
Same to you.
Thank you. I said mommy too. All right. So happy Mother's Day to all those moms out there. Even if your children don't look like y'all, you know, Cairo, we're going to get there one day. This is proof from Ashanika and Darenika is. But we wish you a very happy Mother's Day, and we thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be back with more after this commercial break.
The Department of Statistics will conduct its annual labor force survey during the month of May. Enumerators with official identification cards from the Department of Statistics will visit selected households in New Providence, Grand Bahama, Abaco, Inagua, and the Berry Islands, and will be calling upon residents to complete the questionnaires honestly and accurately. The information obtained will be handled in the strictest of confidence and will help us to maintain essential statistical data about employment levels and characteristics of the country's labor force.
Good afternoon. First response. How can I help you?
I've been in an accident on West Bay Street. Can you send someone to help?
Yes, ma'am. A first response team will be there in 15 minutes. Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine, but a bit upset.
We're glad you're not hurt. Please, try to relax. Our team will take care of everything as soon as they arrive.
First Response provides immediate on-site service and support from the scene of an accident through the claims and repair process. And it's free to all Bahamas First insured drivers in New Providence, every day for any type of accident. If you drive and want First Response on your side, call 32-FIRST or visit bahamasfirst.com for the name of an authorized Bahamas First agent. First Response can't prevent an accident from happening,
But it can certainly ease your mind when it happens.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Of course, the Bahamas has been chosen as the site of the 3rd International Scottish Masonic Conference, which will be held at the Atlantis Resort between May 5th and 19th, 2019, under the theme, Strength in Diversity, Freemasonry in a Changing World. Again, we're very pleased to have back on Bahamas at Sunrise. Of course, he's wearing a different hat this time. Brother Joseph Curry. He is the Right Worshipful District Grand Master. Welcome, Joe. Welcome back, man.
It's good to be here, Philip.
Yeah, good to see
Pleasure
you.
to be back at Bahamas at Sunrise.
That's a heavy title.
It is, and the weight of it is also heavy.
The weight of it. Well, speak to us a little bit about what exactly is the Scottish Masonic Temple and, of course, the District Grand Lodge of the Bahamas.
Well, thank you very much for having us on your show. Yeah. Scottish Freemasonry is the jurisdiction that I represent, the constitution that I represent. Its Grand Lodge is situated in Edinburgh, in Scotland. Scottish Freemasonry has been in the Bahamas for well over 150 years, but we had what we call a break in that continuous period. It was reintroduced in 1967, but prior to that it was pretty much predominantly battalions that were stationed here in the colonies back then. Who were Masons and who wanted to practice their Masonry in the Bahamas. And so they had the authority granted to them to do so. Of course, with the movement of those persons, it became defunct.
Right.
It was reintroduced in 1967 with the leadership of persons like Claudius Roland Walker, who's very much a very well-known figure in Bahamian society, along with a number of other prominent men. We began with one lodge, Lodge St. Michael, number 1634. Today we have 11 lodges.
Really? And how many members?
Well, our membership is just under 500. We have 7 of those lodges in New Providence, and we have 4 of them in our family islands, Grand Bahama and our family islands. We have a presence in Andros, Abaco, Luthra, being the others. We have been engaged in outreach and Masonic work in our communities.
And I was about to ask, what is Masonic work? I mean, obviously the origin of it was around the craft, but the work there's obviously more community-based now.
Absolutely. Masonry began as part of a process by where craftsmen, particularly in Europe, were able to assist in the building of many of the major cathedrals and the major structures in Europe. But in the context of the original side of masonry, many of them are stone craftsmen who saw themselves in a process that using masonry as a means of using their trade for the development of major structures around the period. Masonry is a means by which they could communicate with one another. They can seek employment from one another on behalf of one another, and they can also recognize each other by different means, normally symbols that they would use at the time. Today we don't practice that brand of masonry, and we don't necessarily build structures. We're no longer operative, what we call operative, meaning working with our hands. We're more what we call speculative. And what that means is that we live those things in a figurative or moral sense. So much of what we use in masonry is intended to teach you a moral lesson and to make you a better person.
Okay, well, excellent. So been around for 150 years, 500 plus members here in the Bahamas, but we are hosting, and you are hosting, the third edition of the International Conference. Just speak a little bit about that in terms of what's going to be happening. Is it next week? How many persons you're expecting, whether or not any of these activities are open to the general public?
Thank you very much. We begin receiving our first set of visitors on Sunday. The conference, as you mentioned earlier, begins on the 15th and it continues to the 19th at Atlantis. The conference will have its first event on the Wednesday evening with a cocktail reception at the Atlantis. That will be followed the following morning with our official opening before we begin our sessions. Our sessions run throughout the day from 9 to about 4 o'clock. That evening we have we have a cultural event at the Botanical Gardens, which is open to the public, by the way. There is a small fee attached to that. We're going to introduce them to our culture in music, in food, in drink, and in entertainment. And so we've also asked them to come in their native dress to make them feel comfortable as well. But we have quite a bit of acts that are lined up. We want to really showcase more of our young people, but also introduce some of our more mature artists. But you can expect to see the Lassido and the boys. We have some Ricks and Scrape, a junk canoe component, of course. We also have the National Youth Choir will be performing for us on that occasion. You have, of course, your kind of culture without limbo and fire dance. That's part of who we are. We didn't introduce the storytelling component because it's a very short segment, but that's part of our culture as well. Anything Bahamian in terms of food will be served.
Of course, you know that.
So we're looking forward to that. On Friday morning we resume our sessions, and we pretty much wrap up on Friday evening. On Saturday there is a actual Masonic meeting where our members will be fully regaled, and we'll have our business being done. The Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Scotland, Brother Ramsey McGee, will address that forum. And then on Saturday evening we have a Masonic Gala Ball, which is really the culmination of all of our events. Of course, the public is open to come to that as well. They're invited to join us as well. There are some post and some pre-events. The post really, those who come to the Bahamas, it's good to be able to say, I played golf in the Bahamas.
Absolutely.
Or I went fishing in the Bahamas.
Absolutely.
And
where can you find all of this? Is this information listed anywhere?
Yes, it's on our website, www.ismcbahamas.com. And I didn't touch on it earlier. You did ask the question about what we do in our communities, and we have quite a bit of mentoring that we do with more our primary schools. We have a presence in T.G. Glover, and Gerald Cash, and Stephen Dillard, C.R. Walker. And we are trying to do, in our own way, some mentoring to those young men, many of whom that don't have a presence of a strong male figure in their lives. We also work very closely with the AIDS Foundation. As a matter of fact, our sales blitz with them is on the 1st of June, and we've been able to contribute considerably to their efforts. I think just under 15,000 last year.
Wow.
Dollars we'll be able to help them raise through our efforts throughout the 10 lodges throughout the islands. Wow. Many of which they would not have been able to touch because they don't have a presence at that level. Yeah. And of course, the UB endowment, we sponsor a young male at the UB every year, who is really in the area that is lacking in our Bahamas surveyors.
So I'll tell you what, Joe, you guys have a lot going on. We could probably do this for another 15, absolutely, another 15 minutes. But again, congratulations.
Thank you.
This is the 3rd International Conference. You were able to secure it. That's a pretty big deal, man. Congratulations.
It is for a very young district.
Plus delegates, 21 countries.
Yes.
Next week. Listen, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We have been with the Right Worshipful District Grandmaster. I just simply know. I just know him as Brother Joe Curry, former senator. Thank you so much for joining us on Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Hey, what you doing here?
So you are looking for the Maritime Festival?
I ain't telling me 11.
Well then, so you're trying to tell me no Lady E, live music, good Bahamian food, and John gonna rush out all that in today?
Yes, sir, but I ain't telling me 11. Hey, what you doing, sir?
I'm waiting here till the event. Thanks, bro.
My name is Monique Linton. I am the owner of Custom Creations 242. Alive is my network provider, and I've been with them since inception. I started with the prepaid plan, and I am now on the corporate plan. As a small business owner, I think having reliable telecommunication services is so important. For my business in particular, I am the production person, I am sales and marketing, customer service, I pick up supplies, I drop off products, and in all those cases, I need to still be able to connect with my clients. With Alive, I'm able to do that. I'm able to engage my clients. I don't have to hire someone just to man a telephone. Wherever I am, my business is with me. My name is Monique Linton, and I believe in best.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Bahamas at Sunrise. Looking forward to this next segment. It's the annual observance of the International Day of Families as proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly. And that will take place on May 15th under the theme Families and Climate Change Action. Focus on the SDG 13, that is the Sustainable Development Goal 13. And here to tell us more, very happy to welcome back Elaine Sands. She's the gender expert for the Department of Gender and Family Affairs. Henry Johnson, the lone man in the office with all these phenomenal women. He's the program officer for the Department of Gender and Family Affairs, and they've brought with them Renee Bannaby. She's the Assistant Director of Community Affairs Division. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning. Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you all with us. And then speaking about a topic that I'm so passionate about, both gender and family affairs, and then the idea of family, which is so key and critical. And I'm going to get started with you, Assistant Director Bannaby. What is the International Day of Families, and what is the purpose of the day?
Well, in 1993, a resolution was passed by the United Nations where they were saying that we needed to focus more on the family and develop activities. But here in the Bahamas in 1994, and that's when they actually got started, the actual day, we developed family life centers. That was a major thing that we have done, and presently we have 3 of them. The first one was done in Flamingo Gardens, and it's still in existence. And then we have one in Elizabeth Estates, we have one in Adastra Estates, and they all fall under the Community Affairs Division of the Ministry of Social Services and Urban Development. And we're doing activities there presently, and actually we want to have more. We even have activities in Grand Bahama and in the family islands that pertain to families. So that's what we're doing now here in the Bahamas, and we continue to do things in that effort to make sure we strengthen and make better things for our families and activities as much as possible.
That is excellent. And certainly the family really is the core and the nucleus of any community.
Yes.
And so you want to create programming that strengthens that and that encourages that. What activities are being held and what will be taking place on this particular Connection Day?
Well, I'm from Department of Gender and Family Affairs, and Department of Gender and Family Affairs is the national machinery to promote initiatives, positive initiatives for the family. And so this Wednesday, we're partnering with the Crisis Center. The Crisis Center is spearheading a symposium, and the theme is the Bahamas family in the 21st century. Okay, and there will be a major discussion on the temperature of the family. Okay, what is going on in the family. And so it will be held at the hearing room. That's Administrative Social Services on the corner of JFK Drive and Bethel Avenue at the hearing room. And it goes from 9 a.m. to 1:30.
Okay. Is it open to the general public, or have you invited certain people to come out and join you?
Yes, it's open to gatekeepers.
Okay.
And so it can include law enforcement officers, guidance counselors, teachers, and interested persons who are interested in working with the family.
Okay. Okay. And are we able to contact you at the Department of Gender and Family Affairs? Is there a contact number for you?
Yes, Gender and Family Affairs is 397-8600.
Okay, 397-8600.
Yes.
Yes, and you can get, she is from Community Affairs, and we work, and all of us work at Ministry of Social Services.
Okay.
And so you can either get Community Affairs at that number, or you can ask for Gender and Family Affairs. You know, originally it was the Bureau of Women.
Right. No,
and
so Gender and Family Affairs.
Yes,
I'm coming to talk to him right now.
Yes, it was the Bureau of Women. And so back in 2016, it switched to Department of Gender and Family Affairs. So we're looking out for the men, women, the boys, and the girls.
Everybody
included.
And you know, your role is so important, Mr. Johnson, as a program officer. You work on the desk of men. Talk to me about that role and why it's so critical as we talk about this idea of gender and family affairs.
It is critical because, for one, men being such a focal aspect of what the family is all about. And coming into the Department of Gender Affairs, never having know what the role entails, it has been a nice ride, but a ride that is learning. And in regards to the department itself, it's something that it's like a sponge where everything that is out there, once it's put on the water, it sucks it all up. But the department focuses on trying to sensitize, educate, and train Bahamians in relation to gender affairs, so they can be understanding of where every sphere has related to gender aspects. So coming in as the first male, it has been a ride, but it's been a good ride.
I believe you indeed. A lot to learn from these wise women sitting on either side of you.
Yes.
And I'm sure all those that sit around you in that space. But you work specifically on the role of men, and when we look at like the shootings that have been happening, and your background is in corrections, so you know that there are challenges in our community as relates to men. Why is it important to put an emphasis on men? Because we've often, we've talked a lot about women, and women still have a very long way to go. I don't want to take that away, but we also want to make sure that our men are going with us. So why is that important?
It's important because if men take their rightful roles in society by being leaders, taking nothing away from women, men would spearhead, because in the foundation of Christ, the man is who God created for us. Like I say, taking nothing away from women. But if men take and stand up to what is ordained in Christ by them, we should be all right. But many of us are falling by the wayside. We are not standing up to what we are truly made to be, which is to lead our families down the road to success. So there's a lot of training that has to be done. So we're partnering with NGOs, faith-based organizations, and civil society as a whole to try to bring about some training initiatives in the country itself. And we're going to have something coming up in about next month in regards to perpetrated violence prevention training for males to be able to deal with just that aspect.
All right. Well, I hope that you guys will come back and talk to us more about that. But in the meantime, I want to remind people that the symposium happens next week, Wednesday, 9:30 to 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And of course, if any gatekeepers are not yet aware of it but are interested, they can contact you all.
Any faith-based organization, non-government organizations, or any interested person, and they can also call the Crisis Center, Dr. Patterson. She's spearheading this, and The phone number at the Crisis Center is 328-0922. And so they can also call the Crisis Center and ask for Dr. Patterson.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much for joining us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise. It really has been a pleasure to speak with each of you. And social services is a ministry that really has my heart because it is so critical to the foundation of our nation and us moving forward. And you guys put in so much work and don't always get the thanks you deserve. But I do want to thank you. And happy Mother's Day to you, of course.
Yes.
We hope that you guys have a wonderful symposium next week and that the work continues. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Join us for the Eleuthera Business Outing. The keynote speaker will be the Honorable K. Peter Turnquest, Deputy Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Friday, May 17 at Frigates Rock Sound, Eleuthera. Register today. Contact Margaret Albury at the Councils Limited, Thomas A. Sands Jr. at the Eleuthera Chamber of Commerce, or Jacqueline Gibson at the Ministry of Tourism.
COB prepared me to be a leader by teaching me to work hard for what I want. I'm the first chief internal auditor at the University of the Bahamas. To me, that's an honor to be able to do that. I feel like I'm giving back to a university that gave me a start in my life. I'm Errol Thompson, and this is my UB.
Apply today at www.ub.edu.bs.
Wait, that's Omar Little from The Wire. You think everyone is Omar from The Wire?
Wow, it's really nice to meet a fan.
It's like he's right here. Are you telling you he's been in all type shows and stuff?
And you know, Rev Go Play plays a lot of good movies and TV shows.
Excuse me, can't you see we're watching something else? Rude.
Settle all your pop culture disputes with Rev Go Play. Watch, record, and stream all your favorite shows wherever you are. Free for all Rev TV subscribers. Rev, you and us together.
Thank you so much for staying with us. No? Thank you so much for staying with us. We're back at the midway point and always exciting live show, Phil.
I love it live, right?
Yeah, you gotta love it live. We've still got more to come in the second half, but first we are joined by Amanda Friedman. She's the Executive Assistant at the Arawak Port Development, APD, and she wants to remind us that the Maritime Festival is happening tomorrow, Phil.
Tomorrow.
Right.
Always great to have Amanda on the show. She
Thank
brings so
you.
much energy no matter where she is, no matter what she's doing.
No matter what time it is in the morning.
Thank you.
So tomorrow's a big day.
Tomorrow's a big day. Saturday, May 11th, from noon to 10 p.m. We will be showcasing Maritime in the Bahamas. In the back of the Nassau Container Port, we're opening our gates, our doors to the public, and we hope everybody comes. It's free to attend.
Okay.
We are making a donation on behalf of every person that comes to the door, and we're looking for a wonderful day. Food and drink for purchase, parking at a cost of $2 on the western end of our gates, and we're just going to have a blast tomorrow.
So for those who may not know how to get to the Arawak Port Development, can you kind of direct them
Sure,
for us?
absolutely. So behind the Fish Fry restaurants, you'll drive over a little bridge. In front of you, you'll see a huge sign welcoming you to the Maritime Festival.
Okay.
And then you'll take a left, and you'll drive along until you see the signs to the parking lot. Then there'll be a pedestrian zone to get into the actual festival.
And of course, it starts at noon.
It does. It starts at noon. And we are there till 10 p.m. There's entertainment going all day. Lady E, Irish Store and the Spank Band, Willis and the
You guys
Illis.
are doing it, man.
That lineup, vintage the team alone, and it's just so exciting.
Definitely.
But what I like about this particular festival is that you guys are also encouraging people to bring out their resumes. So
We
what's
sure
happening
are,
there?
yeah. So we know that a lot of people don't know what careers exist in maritime. And we've asked our partners and stakeholders to showcase what job opportunities they have available. So young people, people out of college, people out of high school, people looking for a career move should come out with their resumes and bring them and submit them, because who knows what could happen. There are going to be people actively recruiting for positions tomorrow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
And, you
exciting
know, on Monday's show, we saw the big ships, and of course we saw the big crane and the big machinery. I mean, so you've got tour of the ports, you've got tour of some of these.
Absolutely, yes. So we have vessel tours, so people are going to be able to walk on these ships and see what is what. And we've got tours of our facility, port tours going from 2 to 5. And we've got a lot of entertainment. We've got an up-close look at the op-at helicopter. We've got huge heavy equipment that we work with every day. You know, all of that. We've got NEMA, exactly. We've got the disaster relief container city that's going to be out there in full force, so people can see what NEMA rolls out in the event of a national disaster.
That's pretty cool.
So it's going to be awesome. And it's a green festival.
Okay, and that means
everybody's going to get one of these.
Meal cups and not throwaway containers. That is
Exactly.
phenomenal.
Take this home. This is going to be your commemorative item from the Maritime Festival. Use it. You know, everybody will get one, including babies. So, you know, we want people to come out and enjoy and be encouraged to be green, because it's so important to protect our environment.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So before we go, Amanda, why is this the time now for APD to be hosting this event?
We are celebrating our 10th anniversary. So a lot of people think of us as, you know, when people bought shares, which was 2012. Way before that, our port development had started. And we started to move shipping off of Bay Street and to bring together a port community. And we've done that now at the Nassau Container Port, and we're celebrating really our achievements over the last 10 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're going to try to make this an annual thing, but we understand it.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly.
Thank
Tomorrow,
you.
looking forward to a great day. And we're going to go from there. But Amanda, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Listen, we've got more to come here in Bahamas at Sunrise. We're going to hear about that report, the Chamber of Commerce, the Oxford Economics team, and their assessment of the Bahamas' WTO ascension. Of course, BPL will tell us all about those engines we saw there at the port. And it's World Lupus Day, and we're going to learn more about that particular affliction. And, of course, the Alive Weekend Calendar.
So we've got all of that ahead for you and more, so stay tuned. Before we get to any of that, we're going to find out from Godfrey Burnside what the weather's looking like tomorrow as we go out and celebrate at the Arawak Port Development's Maritime Festival.
Rain
Godfrey,
or shine.
talk to me, Godfrey. Give me something good.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Star, and good morning, Bahamas. And your second look at weather at sunrise. I have this mid-level trough. It's going to trigger pockets of showers and thunderstorms, particularly there with the extreme northwest Bahamas, Grand Bahama, Abaco, Bimini, Berry Islands, even Abaco, 1 or 2 will be moving through the islands. Because of convectivity, you have 90 degrees temperature, so you can see 1 or 2 showers along the coastal region during the daytime. And tomorrow, for even that fair, you might have 1 or 2 little passing showers. But for the most part, that should move to the east on Sunday, bring about some showers throughout the weekend. A little good on Monday, but by Wednesday and Thursday, we have another trough to bring some showers across the islands. In your marine forecast, those winds today, east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet over the islands. On Saturday, winds becoming more southeasterly at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet over the northwest and central Bahamas. East to southeast at 15 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet over the southeastern islands. On Sunday, those winds become southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet in northwest Bahamas, and southeasterly at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet over the central and southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a high tide 11:50 this morning. Next low tide at 5:55 this evening. Low again tomorrow morning, at 20 minutes past midnight. Sunset 7:43 this evening. Rises tomorrow morning at 6:28. UV index 8. Your water temperature 76 degrees Fahrenheit. And the moon phase for its quarter. As we go through the weekend, that mix of sun and clouds with pockets of showers, even a possible thunderstorm. Temperature daytime will be around the 90-degree mark, at nighttime in the mid to upper 70s. That's what you're up in your phone. Look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Hubert.
Welcome back. In view of the Bahamas government goal to accede to the World Trade Organization, the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employees Confederation commissioned a report from Oxford Economics to look at some of the challenges with WTO. Here to discuss this morning, we have Darren Pickstock, the chairman of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employee Federation Working Group. We have Mr. Ramesh Chatto, the trade policy advisor from Oxford Economics, and Lloyd Barton, who is the head of the global trade for Oxford Economics. Let me start with you, Darren. Why was it important for the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce to take on this report at this time? Why was it essential?
Well, we thought that in light of the government's pronouncement to accede to the World Trade Organization, it was important to have an independent report, an independent analysis that examined and looked at the facts of our economy as a whole, holistically, and to look at some of the implications of the Bahamas acceding to the World Trade Organization. So it's an independent report, independent of the government, and it looks, it's factually based. And so that's important, and people can look at this report because it's available. It's now available on the Chamber's website and also on the Trade Portal's website for review.
And so it's critical to create that separation between the Chamber and the information which is going to be disseminated. Mr. Barton, let me start with you. Oxford Economics is well known within the Bahamas. You have done a number of reports, a number of studies. But for the layman out there, just give us a quick overview of exactly who you are, what do you do, and what does this report say to the Bahamas?
So Oxford Economics was founded in the 1980s, part of the University of Oxford. It's now an independent company. We've got offices around the globe, over 250 economists, and yeah, I mean, we do a lot of this type of policy analysis for governments and private sector organizations.
Yes. The impact of this report, what does it say to the Bahamas, to the world in general?
I think the key messages are that, one, it is possible for a small economy like the Bahamas to successfully join the WTO. It's better for the Bahamas if it can negotiate a tailored agreement with the WTO, but perhaps the main thrust of the report is that what the Bahamas really needs is to unlock growth through a broader set of policy reforms, of which WTO would be one element.
There's been a number of discussion across the Bahamas in recent time, Mr. Chatto. And the question is always making this parallel as to what are the benefits? Why is it that a small island state, a small island economy should ascend to WTO, and how have other countries handled this accession over time?
Thank you. Well, small economies have particular small problems, problems that are particular to the scale of businesses and so on. And in many small economies like the Bahamas, where there are high tariffs, that is the biggest challenge, because when you join the WTO, the intent is to reduce tariffs, to remove protection, to quantify all protection that is non-tarified into tariffs and so on. The reason why there are benefits to joining the WTO, there are a range of reasons. One of the primary ones is you then become part and parcel of an international system in which standards and regulations more or less by and large converge, customs, procedures, regulations, etc., technical barriers, and various other things, so that businesses around the world understand your regime. And that perhaps might be the most fundamental thing. The second one is all your procedures and requirements regarding businesses and how things operate tend to be transparent and predictable. And that's then improves overall the operating environment.
Yes. One of the big outputs from your report is the recognition that there is a need for a number of reforms across the board. But it points to one area that the trade imbalances could put pressure, or at least point in a direction where reconsideration need to be given to our one-to-one peg with the US dollar. Mr. Barton, what are your views on this? Because this is something which is fundamental to the psyche of the Bahamian economy. Talk to us about the peg.
I mean, I think this result from the report has perhaps been overblown a bit. It's not one of the recommendations that the peg to the US dollar should be reviewed. I mean, more importantly is looking at kind of structural factors in the domestic economy, excessive bureaucracy, high cost of doing business. It's true that joining the WTO when tariffs are reduced may widen the current account deficit, and that, other things equal, may put some more pressure on the currency. But our scenarios assume that the currency peg is maintained, and indeed, I mean, joining WTO does not imply anything about a currency regime.
So it would be fair to say that the main thrust of the report is that the country, the economy, needs to get this focused attention as it relates to the reforms.
Exactly. And these reforms, excuse me, I think have been the subject of discussion by the private sector for quite some time. And there are a range of things that negatively impact or constrain business activity. And these were outlined in a series of recommendations made by the committee that was set up for that. And I think they made those recommendations to the government last year. They concern a series of things, including starting with the cost of power, the level of competitiveness or not, some various kinds of the time it takes to get things done, lack of clarity over certain kinds of procedures and regulations, etc. And that's a good, the entire shopping list is in that recommendation from the committee.
The natural outflow from that situation is, what is the risk? What are the downfalls if the Bahamas do not address these structural issues at this point in time, or have a program to address these issues?
Well, if the reform process does not take place, any benefits, well, it could minimize or reduce the kinds of benefits from WTO accession, because it's that in of itself alone will not do it. Some of the problems in the economy are kind of structural. Some of them are procedural and regulatory and so on. So if you want to maximize, what the Bahamas really needs to do is kind of diversify the areas in which it adds value, in which it makes money.
Yes. And so it's clear that one of the messages from this is the Bahamas need to take a good look at its own economy and seek to grow and develop. We have to move to a place where the acceleration of growth is moving at a faster pace. As we wrap up, Mr. Barton, your quick 20-second blurb on this. What would you say to the persons who will be looking at this report and seeking to come away with an informed position?
I think the key message is that WTO accession can work for a small economy such as the Bahamas. It can be made successful. I think they shouldn't fear that it's a one-size-fits-all regime. The Bahamas has the power to negotiate a tailored agreement. But finally, I think the key message is that the most positive outcome would be to have a broader reform process, of which WTO accession is one element.
Mr. Chato?
I think he's covered it. There's nothing really more to add, except perhaps I would add to that, there's also need for vision of where the Bahamas wants to go in terms of new kinds of business areas.
Yes. And as we wrap, I'll give you the final word, Mr. Pigstock. What are your views now that this report has been completed? What is it that you expect? What's the message to the wider public from here on?
Well, the message to the wider public first, Hubert, is to ensure that they read the report. It's important that they access the report on on the internet, on our website, the Chamber's website. It's important that they access the report on the Trade Portal's website and read the report. There's a full report and there's a summary of that report. And so over the course of the next few weeks, there's going to be a lot of discussion as it relates to that report. And so we, as a chamber, look forward to those discussions.
And certainly a public discussion needs to be had. As it is said, Acceding to the WTO is not a panacea for growth in the economy. The fundamental issues here is that the structural matters, the structural fundamentals of the country need to be addressed, and they need to be addressed with some level of urgency. You have been listening to the individuals from Oxford Economics and Darren Pigstock from the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce. We want to thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Thank you very much, Hubert. Today is World Lupus Day and May is Lupus Awareness Month. It's a time to increase understanding and support for those affected by this challenging autoimmune disease. Here to talk with us about this is rheumatologist Dr. K. Neil Parker and Ms. Ezranda Bodie, a lupus fighter and member of Lupus 242. Looking forward to talking a little bit more about that. But Doc, just share with us a little bit about the disease and the impact that it's had, particularly in the Bahamas.
Well, lupus is an autoimmune condition, as you correctly said, meaning essentially that the body's immune system attacks certain tissues within the body, most commonly the skin, the joints, and in the case of lupus, specifically the kidneys, among other tissues. And so patients can experience a number of symptoms, from skin rashes, particularly on the face, to joint stiffness, particularly in the morning, to joint pain and joint swelling. And then sadly some patients experience severe effects on the kidney, which can even result in kidney failure, and in some cases patients ending up on dialysis.
Wow. Is this prevalent here in the Bahamas?
It is a fairly common condition. I would not call it rare. It's not quite as common as hypertension or diabetes, but given that lupus has a predilection for young women of color, and that's essentially quarter of our population,
right.
You would find that the incidence in our population is high.
How do you go about diagnosing that you might actually have lupus?
Well, ultimately, it's a clinical diagnosis. Okay. You start with some of the symptoms that we discussed, and there's lab testing that goes along with it to confirm the presence of autoimmunity. And in certain instances, you may do things like skin biopsies or kidney biopsies.
All right. Ezranda, you've actually been living with lupus now for a number of years. You were diagnosed
2015.
2015. How did you determine that? What were some of the things that you were experiencing at the time?
At the time, I was experiencing a bit of skin rash and stiffness in the morning when I would get up. So the joint pains, and then just pain in my stomach area, throat inflammation, just a number of other symptoms.
Okay. And of course, it's Lupus Awareness Day today, and it says when you should breaking the silence, supporting the cure. Doc, is there a cure for lupus?
In 2019, the answer to that would be no, unfortunately. Lupus is a chronic condition, meaning that it exists for the duration of a person's life. The disease course is one of flares and remission, so that the severity waxes and wanes, but we treat the manifestations. And we also give medicine to suppress the disease overall.
How was it like, for you on a daily basis, coping and dealing and living, with this disease?
It has its ups and downs. It's rough sometimes, but you just kind of manage it, take your meds on time, and everything will be fine.
So it's basically management.
Management.
Okay, management of the symptoms, management of the pain.
Management of your health. Yes.
Management of your health. All right. Are there any things in particular, Doc, that persons with lupus should actually be doing on a daily basis?
Well, one of the things that lupus patients that can exacerbate or make worse patients' lupus would be sunlight. So a lot of patients with lupus have what you call photosensitivity, and the disease is, or the condition is driven by sunlight. So the wearing of sunblock on a regular basis is one of the measures of that patients with lupus can take to help control their condition, whether or not they have skin manifestations or not. Certainly taking the medications on a regular basis, regular follow-up with a physician, avoidance of certain foods like excessive garlic or even vitamin C, which promote the immune system, which is not great in a lupus patient.
All right. Ezranda, you are a member of Lupus 242. And of course, all month long there are going to be several activities dedicated to bringing more awareness about the disease.
Okay.
Speak a little bit about the organization and the events that may be planned for this month.
Okay, and so today is World Lupus Day.
Yeah.
And to start off today, we will be having a pop-up run that's going to start at 6:30 this afternoon, Goodman's Bay. And it's going to be from Goodman's Bay to Sandals. That's about 4 miles.
Okay.
There's going to be donations will be accepted. There's going to be a purple box. We're asking persons to please attend and support.
Okay.
Wear a purple shirt, even if you're unable to get a lupus shirt at this time.
Right.
You can still just wear purple, show up, give a donation,
Okay.
just to show support. Also, on the 18th of May at the University of the Bahamas, lupus, we will have a health talk with Dr. Parker, and I know you asked him earlier what tips he can give to persons struggling with this, dealing with this illness. And so he will speak more on that in his presentation, and that's going to be at the Harry Seymour Library, 12 noon on the 18th of May. And our final event for the month will be the ribbon ceremony. We usually remember those that have passed with lupus, and so that's going to be at Fort Charlotte on the 25th of May at 6 p.m. in the afternoon.
All right. Certainly, Doc. Bringing more awareness to the illnesses is probably top priority. In a nutshell, I mean, what will your presentation kind of speak to?
Well, this year in particular, we'll focus on the kidney manifestations of lupus. So patients want to know what's available, and I always emphasize that adherence to the accepted treatments is the best bet to have the best chance at a full life. And so we kind of emphasize that.
Yeah. Okay. What would you say? Go ahead.
Just wanted to say, to remind persons as well, for those who may not have remembered the information I gave, we have a Facebook and Instagram page that's Lupus 242, and a website, it's lupus242.org. And those information will give the times, the location, and also where you can contact persons for lupus shirts. Yes.
All right. And of course, you don't have to be a part of an event to get a shirt.
That's correct.
All right, listen, Ms. Randa, thank you so much for being here on Bahamas at Sunrise. Dr. Parker, thank you so much for being back.
Thank you very much.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. Now here is your live weekend calendar.
Show starts at 8 p.m. Uncle Lou Fun Run Walk, Saturday, May 11th. Pre-registration for the walk is available to participants at the alumni office at the Toyota showroom, Shirley Street, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Friday, May 10th. Official registration starts 5 a.m. Race starts at 6 a.m., leaving from St. Augustine's College campus. The People's Pharmacy First Annual Community Health Fair and Family Fun Day, celebrating our customers and the entire Carmichael community. Saturday, May 11th, People's Pharmacy, Carmichael Road, 12 noon to 5 p.m. The first ever Maritime Festival, Saturday, May 11th, Nassau Container Port, Arawak Key, 12 noon to 10 p.m. There will be tasty food and beverages on sale, a kiddie corner, maritime and helicopter tours, career opportunities, live painting by Alan Pacino Wallace, and Stephen Legend. Entertainment by Willis and the Illis, Lady E, Aristar and the Spank Band. Admission is free. Sapadilla Fine Dining presents Mother's Day Brunch. Sunday, May 12th, Sapadilla Estate, West Bay Street, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. RSVP 327-2161 or reservations at sapadillabahamas.com. The 7th Annual Eleuthero Business Outlook. Keynote speaker will be the Honorable K. Peter Turnquist, Deputy Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Friday, May 17th, Frigates, Rock Sound Eleuthero. Registration, 8 a.m. That's your live weekend calendar. To have your event posted on the calendar, please don't hesitate to email kalbury@tclbahamas.com. Alive. Believe in best.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Well, listen, I am going to have an amazing conversation that I'm sure you want to hear more about. The 7 multi-fuel engines that will power Bahamas Power and Light's new $95 million electricity plant have arrived and will be transported to the power plant over a process expected to take at least 2 weeks. We're going to find out all about this and how it's directly going to impact what we can expect for summer from Patrick Rollins, Executive Director of Bahamas Power and Light, and Kay Quincy Parker, who's the Public Relations Director for BPL. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
I'm excited. I won't lie to you. I'm hoping that this means that something new is happening for us in terms of what we can expect from our electricity corporation and what that means for us as we move into the summer months. And so, Mr. Rollins, I'm going to get right into it. Explain exactly what this new equipment is.
Well, we're bringing in 7 tri-fuel engines. They're from the manufacturer Wärtsilä out of Finland. They are high-efficiency engines. They can run off HFO, diesel, and LNG once it becomes available.
Okay.
They're going to give us more reliability in terms of our generation, and they're going to help to lower our cost of electricity in the Bahamas.
Say that one more time.
They will help to lower cost of electricity in the
Help
Bahamas.
to lower the cost of electricity in the Bahamas. Somebody told me I was going to get a word today, and I'm just so grateful for that.
Amen.
But seriously, so BPL's plans to use the new assets? What does that look like long term?
Well, a lot of our assets are aged, and some of the problems we're having are because of the assets are old. And so the board has taken a policy that they want to provide reliable power at the lowest possible cost. It means changing out a lot of the assets in both our generation and our distribution.
Okay.
So the first phase is changing out the generation assets. So this is the first set of new generators we're putting in. There's another 90 megawatts that Shell will build to add to this. So we have 220 megawatts of new generation.
Okay.
Along with our existing generation and renewables, which we will implement in New Providence, will provide our power going forward.
Okay, excellent. This is the perfect time. Certainly one that we've been waiting for some time. And Quincy, I'm going to kind of come to you now and just ask, what should the public be expecting? What relief will this give us from a public perspective?
The public has, and I think one of the exciting things about this process for me is that BPL will be using this exercise to do a lot of public education on how this particular utility works.
Okay.
Because the cost of electricity is something that people complain about, rightfully so, but don't understand all of the components that go into it. So what these engines are, as Mr. Rollins has said, this is our first blow against that high cost. Right. They will, when they are installed properly, by the end of the summer, they will automatically bring the cost of energy down, just because they're going to go to being the first engines used. Which means that the cheaper fuel, the most high energy efficiency energy is going to be the first energy produced.
Okay.
Which automatically means that we're not going to have to burn as much of the extremely expensive diesel and HFO.
Excellent.
So that is, people could look forward, is it 30%?
What?
That's LNG.
It's difficult to say.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's difficult to say.
It's difficult
But people will see, and I'm putting my neck on the line here, but people will see a marked change and a marked reduction in their power bills.
If that's not something to look forward to, I don't know what is. You know, the issue though is that whenever we're making changes, it comes with a little bit of inconvenience. For example, they're doing roadworks by me right now, and I'm inconvenienced, y'all. I'm slightly annoyed. I won't lie, but I appreciate that the road will be so much better once it's done. I'm considering moving these huge machines from one end of the island to the next. What happens in terms of the transport of that, and what should we as a public expect? So Mr. Rollins, you can take the first part of that. How will these actually be moved from one side of the island to the next?
Well, to get them from the port where they are now to Clifton Pier, it's an 8 to 9 hour journey.
Wow.
From the port down West Bay Street to Bahama Avenue, onto the airport road, down to Serenity, back to the port.
Okay.
There's going to be some inconvenience. It's going to be done at night.
Okay.
At the lowest traffic times. But there's going to be some inconvenience. Roads are going to be closed. They're going to be reroutes. The police are going to be working with us. Some lines are going to have to be de-energized during the process because these engines are like 20 feet tall and 15 feet wide.
Wow.
280 tons.
Wow.
You know, so these are huge. And someone's going to be walking with a little joystick like this and directing the engines
wow.
to get them from where they are and walk with them the whole way
Wow.
from the port to Clifton Pier.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a long time.
The-
What should we expect you as a public in this regard then? Do we have the dates yet? Do we know?
Yes,
Okay.
and BPL will be publishing the schedule in Monday's paper.
Okay.
But we start moving the first pieces of equipment on Monday evening at 9 p.m.
Okay.
The first things that will move will be the generators,
Mm-hmm.
and between Monday the 13th and Wednesday the 15th, 16th, whatever it is, we will have all of the generators moved from Clifton, from the port down to Clifton.
Okay.
And then next Monday, the 23rd, is when we start moving the engines, the
Okay.
generators.
Okay.
The generators are moving first, and then
And
the
then the
engines are
engines.
moving on the 23rd.
So at some
And
point,
that is a multi-day process. That's not going to end until June 5th or 6th.
What?
Because, and this is why we will need the public's indulgence on this. The way it will work is, after they've built the little bridge at the port to get these things off the port, the reason that someone can walk behind it with a little joystick
Right.
is because it's moving at 2 miles an hour.
Okay. Very
So
slow.
overnight, they will transport one engine from the port to Clifton. Then they'll turn around and bring the little transporter back. That it can only move at 2 miles an hour.
Oh wow.
And so that's going to come back over the next night.
Wow.
And then the third night, they'll move another engine. And then the fourth night, they'll move the transporter
On the
back.
Okay.
And then the fifth night, they'll move another. Yeah. So it's going to take a good while to get these engines done, placed in Station A. But as I say, we'll make sure that the schedule is published on Monday and then again on Thursday to prepare folks for the 23rd. And when Mr. Rollins says things like de-energized, he's a power man. So what that means for the public is, in addition to some road closures, there are going to be some power cuts.
That's what I wanted to find out.
Right.
I wanted to find out.
But very, very isolated areas.
Okay.
And it's necessary because the engines are 48 feet tall.
Okay.
No, sorry, they're 20 feet tall. But you don't want them to come in contact with the overhead lines.
Okay.
And so you're going to cut the power to those lines, and that way.
All right, now people
Not
out
plunge
west,
the thing.
we've been pretty lucky for the most part. I'm one of those Western residents, and for the most part, our power is pretty consistent.
Yeah.
There are times when we go down, but we know when you can plan.
You all
we
could take a bullet on this.
You think we can take? Oh, gee. Well, I'm going to have to prepare, but I'm so grateful that you came to share with us in advance that we know what is coming.
The de-energizing is going to be as minimal as possible.
Okay. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Good stuff, Mr. Wallace. It's good to know these people at BPL. But generally, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise. Looking forward to that reduction in my bill. And if that's what it takes for me to get the reduction, then I will take the cutback in the power. I will take the road closures, because this is what it takes for change to happen. And so we're just grateful that at this point BPL is moving forward and that you came to share with us. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
We will have a booth at the Maritime Festival. I just wanted to point that out. So if anyone has other questions, they can come check us out at the booth on Saturday.
Excellent opportunity to do so. Thank you for that plug, Quincy. Thanks again for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
And if you've got questions for BPL, of course, as Quincy said, you can meet them at the Maritime Festival happening tomorrow at APD from 12 noon until 10 p.m. We'll be back with more Bahamas at Sunrise right after this commercial break.
Hey, what you doing here? So you are looking for the Maritime Festival? Time tell me 11.
Well then, so you trying to tell me no Lady E, live music, good Bahamian food, and John gonna rush out all that in today?
Yes, sir, but I ain't tell me 11. Hey, what you doing, sir?
I'm waiting here till the event. Thanks, bro.
I'm Jennifer Baisden, Group Sales and Marketing Manager for Bahamas Air, and it's my pleasure to invite you to experience Houston. From out-of-the-world excitement at Space Center's Houston, the gateway to NASA's Mission Control, to the over 10,000 restaurants representing cuisine from more than 70 countries. Houston has it all. Come, experience Houston with direct service on Bahamas Air. For more information on flight and packages, visit bahamasair.com.
WTO membership will bring benefits to the Bahamas. These benefits include increased economic growth and development, increased opportunities for Bahamian exports, higher employment, better income for Bahamian workers, lower cost of living for Bahamian consumers, increased choices for Bahamian consumers, modernization in government services, and better relations with trade partners. These benefits, combined with progressive planning and execution by our private and public sectors, will produce a better life for Bahamians.
Dynamic speakers, great networking. Join us for Eleuthera Business Outlook, May 17th, Frigates Rock Sound, Eleuthera. Register today. Contact Margaret Aubrey at the Counselors Limited or Thomas Sands Jr., Eleuthera Chamber of Commerce, and Jacqueline Gibson at the Ministry of Tourism.
No, man, I like it though. Listen, thank you very much for watching this edition of Bahamas at Sunrise. We're going to see you at the Maritime Festival tomorrow. And of course, to all of the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. There's nothing we can do without you, absolutely nothing. You know, Mom, Jack, see you soon.
Happy Mother's Day, Mommy. Love you so much. Bye.
Now listen.